वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जयो राधा माधव कुंज विहारी गोपी जना वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तनम की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतः पदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च। श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम पदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So we are reading from the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 6th chapter, text number 32. Yes. Kindly repeat after me. viśo vartanta tasyorvor loka-vṛttikarīr vibhoḥ vaiśyas tad-udbhavo vārtāṁ nṛṇāṁ samavartayat viśo vartanta tasyorvor loka-vṛttikarīr vibhoḥ vaiśyas tad-udbhavo vārtāṁ nṛṇāṁ samavartayat viśo vartanta tasyorvor loka-vṛttikarīr vibhoḥ vaiśyas tad-udbhavo vārtāṁ nṛṇāṁ samavartayat. Vaishnavis. Word to word meaning, translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. viśaḥ, means of living by production and distribution. Avartanta, generated. tasya, his, the gigantic forms. Ūrvoḥ, from the thighs. Loka-vṛttikarīr, means of livelihood. Vibhoḥ, of the Lord. Vaiśyas, the mercantile community. Tad, there. Udbhavaḥ, orientation. Vārtāṁ, means of living. nṛṇāṁ, of all men. Yah, one who. Samavartayat, executed. Translation. The means of livelihood of all persons, namely production of grains and their distribution to the prajās, was generated from the thighs of the Lord's gigantic farm. The mercantile men who take charge of such execution are called vaiśyas. Purport. Human society's means of living is clearly mentioned here as viśo or agriculture, and the business of distributing agricultural products, which involves transport and banking, etc. Industry is an artificial means of livelihood, and large-scale industry especially is the source of all the problems of society. In Bhagavad Gita also, the duties of the vaiśyas who are engaged in viśo are stated as cow protection, agriculture and business. We have already discussed that the human being can safely depend on the cow and the agricultural land for his livelihood. The exchange of produce by banking and transportation is a branch of this type of living. The vaiśyas are divided into many subsections. Some of them are called kshetri or landowners. Some are called krishana or land tillers. Some of them are called tilavanik or grain raisers. Some are called gandhavanik or merchants in spices. And some are called suvarnavanik or merchants in gold and banking. The Brahmanas are the teachers of this. The Brahmanas are the teachers and spiritual masters. The Kshatriyas protect the citizens from the hands of thieves and miscreants, and the Vaiśyas are in charge of the production and distribution. The Shudras, the unintelligent class of men who cannot act independently in duties, are meant for serving the three higher classes for their livelihood. Formerly, the Brahmanas were given all the necessities of life by the Kshatriyas and Vaiśyas because they had no time to spend making a living. The Kshatriyas would collect taxes from the Vaiśyas and Shudras, but the Brahmanas were exempt from paying income tax or land revenue. That system of human society was so nice that there were no political, social and economic upheavals. The different castes or varna classifications are therefore essential for maintaining a peaceful human society. Hare Krishna. I seek the blessings of all the assembled Vaishnavas, Vaishnavis, that I can speak something as I have heard from the Guru Parampara and purify my own heart and also give pleasure to all of the Vaishnavas assembled and to the deities, Shri Radha Madhava Ashtasaki, Shri Panchatattva, Shri Narsingh Prahlad Maharaj. So I am very unqualified by the order of Rasmaya Nityanand Prabhu. I am trying to share something. Hare Krishna. So this is a very important subject matter of discussion. As said, Srimad Bhagavatam is a transcendental literature, Amal Puran, and it is only meant to glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead exclusively and profusely. So then question may be raised that why we are discussing on Varnashram, which apparently seems like Rupa Goswami in the Nectar of Devotion says that Varnashram is not the part of the pure devotion service idea. But that does not mean Varnashram should not be followed. Varnashram should be followed, but pure devotion service surpasses Varnashram. So, Srila Prabhupada also, in his last years of Leela here in the planet, he was very concerned that the Varnashram system is properly established in order to properly keep the dharmic principles for all the devotees also and for the larger masses. In fact, throughout his purports, he has many times brought the discussion about Varnashram system. So here the description of the universal form is going on, and in that Varnashram is part of the, like the social body of the Lord. Social body, when it is compared, like the head is compared to the Brahmanas, the arms of the universal form are compared to the Kshatriyas, and the waist is compared to the Vaiśyas, and the legs are compared to the Shudras. So Prabhupada, two purports earlier mentions that all these are important. No one can say, I want only the head and not the hands or the legs. So there is a proper dignity for all the parts of the body. Similarly, there is proper dignity for all the varnas and the ashramas. So one should actually have proper respect for them. And here specifically, the Vaishya, the varna is being described at length. So if you read the purport, you can divide it into 4 parts. First, Srila Prabhupada is bringing the Vedic system of Vaishya community versus the modern industrial society. So industrial business enterprises are also, if we have to best give a correspondence to the Vedic program, they will be called Vaiśyas, or in the English language they call capitalist. But the modern industrial enterprise has nothing to do with what the Vedic culture of Vaishya was. Because in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells, Krishi Goraksha Vanijyam. These are the duties of the Vaishya class of society. So Prabhupada is giving a distinction between the modern and the Vedic Vaishya idea. And then in the second part, he is giving a categorization of different Vaishyas. That there are Kshetris, that landowners, Krishnas, who are land tillers, Gandhavanik, Tilavanik, and Sumanavanik, like that. And after that, he gives the overall, the functions of all the 4 varnas. So that is the third part. And then last but not the least, Srila Prabhupada mentions about how Brahmanas were maintained by the Kshatriyas and the Vaiśyas. They were not asked for any taxes, and they had no time to do any living, earn the means of living. They were simply absorbed in service to the Lord. So we'll try to discuss each part a little. So the first point Srila Prabhupada has brought about is the Vaishya community in the Vedic culture versus the modern industrial enterprises. So Prabhupada in the first canto, at many places, he brings the importance of the Vedic society of where the natural gifts by the Lord were talked about, were discussed, and not this industrial goods. So I'd like to read a little from those sections. So in the 1.9.26, Srila Prabhupada in the purport says, the Varnashram Dharma is prescribed for the civilized human beings just to train him to successfully terminate human life. And then when he is describing the Vaishya community in that purport only, so he says that they are especially advised to protect the cows. Cow protection increases the milk production, namely yogurt and butter. Agriculture and distribution of foodstuffs are the primary duties of the mercantile community, backed by the education in Vedic knowledge and trained to give charity. So they would do charity also, and they were educated in the Vedic knowledge. And then Prabhupada mentions in the end of that purport, the production energy of the laborer is misused. That means now he's talking about the modern, is misused when he's occupied by industrial enterprises. Industry of various types cannot produce the essential needs of man, namely rice, wheat, grains, milk, fruits and vegetables. The production of machines and machine tools increases the artificial living fashion of a class of vested interest and keeps thousands of men in starvation and unrest. If we see, none of the industrial enterprises can produce any food grain without the Mother Nature giving the food grain. They may process the food grain, there are many processing units, but one single grain of rice cannot be produced in the industry. Nothing can be produced in the industry which is required for the basic needs of the body or the soul. So all the industries are simply creating an artificial civilization, and person thinks, without this I cannot live. But in the Vedic culture, this was not the case. Like now, people have 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G, 6G also has come, I heard. So 6G is also coming, something is coming. So people are thinking that if this comes, then it will be done, then ban jayega baat, it will be done. But think about it, when we didn't have phones also. Whenever I give class to youths, I ask this first question to them. So how many of you feel that our previous generation was more happy than current generation, our generation. Everyone raises hand, So that means what? That we have not progressed, we have regressed. Previously there were no suicides, or the bullock cart cannot meet with a very serious accident also, So there were no major accidents like now. People are driving at very high speeds, 200 kilometers per hour and all that. So people did not have suicides, or crime rate has increased, divorce rate has increased, so many problems have increased. So what has gone wrong? So Prabhupada writes in the 1.11.12 about the industrial enterprise. He says, Dwarka was surrounded by flower gardens and fruit orchards, along with reservoirs of water where lotuses grew. There is no mention of mills and factories, supported by slaughterhouses, which are the necessary paraphernalia of the modern metropolis. The propensity to utilize nature's own gift is still there, even in the heart of modern civilized man. The Prabhupada says, the modern civilized man is bringing mills and industry, but still they want the natural thing. And he proves it. He says, the leaders of the modern civilization select their own residential quarters in a place where there are such natural, beautiful gardens and reservoirs of water. But they leave the common men to reside in congested areas without parks and gardens. If you want to get some graphic idea, you can come to Mumbai. Welcome to. There is no space. Person is living in small rooms. Even if they are earning big amounts, they can't afford a big house also. And forget about trees and plants around. Maximum they can put the money plant inside the home. That's it. And then he's saying very important thing. All the people depended on nature's gift of fruits and flowers without industrial enterprises, promoting filthy huts and slums for residential quarters. Okay. Advancement of civilization is estimated not on the growth of mills and factories to deteriorate the finer instincts of the human being. This is a very important thing. He will elaborate. I'll just read that, then I explain. But on developing the potent spiritual instincts of the human beings and giving them a chance to go back to Godhead. Development of factories and mills is called ugra karma, or pungent activities, and such activities deteriorate the finer sentiments of the human beings and turn society into a dungeon of demons. Prabhupada's language is just out of the world. Human energy should be properly utilized in developing the finer senses for spiritual understanding, in which lies the solution of life. Fruits, flowers, beautiful gardens, parks and reservoirs of water, with ducks and swans playing in the midst of lotus flowers and cows giving sufficient milk and butter, are essential for developing the finer tissues of the human body. As against this, the dungeon of minds, factories and workshops develop demonic propensities in the working class. The vested interests flourish at the cost of the working class, and consequently there are severe clashes between them in so many ways. So, you will see that when the person works in factories whole day, then his finer tissues get finished. He cannot think finely. He has to simply think that somehow I should have, I should eat and have sex. This is their only thought process, because his finer thought process, which is in the mode of goodness, is lost. So much of ugra karma, which is in mode of passion and leads to eventually ignorance. So people are just working hard day and night. Srila Prabhupada writes in another purport that how people travel early morning in trains to reach the office. There are some people who travel from Pune to Bombay at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock and return back at 11 o'clock. And what they get is do-vakt roti. They get only 2 chapatis for everyone. But Prabhupada writes, and I have seen also, his guest Hari Leela Prabhu had come from here to Pune. So he was sharing that here there are devotees in Mayapur Dham who have a small, some 1 acre land or something, and they on that also they can survive their whole family. So Vedic culture was very simple and sweet. Actually, we don't need a lot of stuff. We need simply food, clothing, shelter, But people have made the whole need so expanded. Like imagine we need a phone, then we need to purchase something from the other people, and that phone makes us dependent on that phone company, and the phone company is working based on a lot of loans from big banks. So the whole civilization is intertwined with each other, although you just need food, clothing, shelter. That was your basic need. And then do bhajan, we can do bhajan. In the Vedic culture, farmers would not work 12 months. They would work only a few months. And rest of the time they will be absorbed in service to the Lord. So the Vedic culture was tuned in for spiritual elevation and not for simply artificial sense of, increasing the facilities for comforts and sense gratification. So people have now, one research was done by some PhD fellow. What was the research? He has done the research that how when someone is in the bathtub, then the bubble can remain on the body for a very long time. So he's researching. What is the use? Take a bath in the Ganga and go out and do some bhajan, What is the use of all this research? So people are making artificial ideas which they think will give happiness. Actually, real happiness is in simply doing, actually our devotees are taking prasadam, sitting on the ground, and they are actually very simply living, but they are very happy. While people have everything of this world, still they are unhappy and committing suicides also. And things are going bad to worse. If you see, like in Prithu Prabhu was telling us, this guy Prithu Prabhu had come to Pune, and he was telling that in America there is one suicide point. And at that suicide point, one man went and was wanting to jump, but he was feeling hesitant to jump. Should I kill myself or not? And that time all the people are collected and seeing, when will this fellow jump? So they are saying, jump, 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 jump. So the person gets such a sadistic pleasure. He cannot understand that what is life meant for. Actually, one is deriving joy in seeing someone die. What kind of pleasure is this? People are nowadays, I saw one place it was mentioned that, in the West somewhere, that it is written that in the dustbin, don't dump your babies here. So that means the finer instincts are lost. Where is Uttara feeling for, Parikshit and saying that let me be killed but let my womb be saved, versus the mother only dumping the baby because she is simply carried by sense gratificatory program. So Vedic culture was filled with sense of duty and responsibility for the family, for the sages, and making oneself, considering oneself always indebted to many others. There was always gratitude for others, and based on that I have many duties to perform to relieve myself from debt. Versus someone is thinking that this is my birthright, I can enjoy, why should I serve? Like the parents care for the child, and when the parents become old, then the child should take care of the parents. This is Vedic culture. But now there is old age homes, because the child feels that parents are a burden, and he is interested in his sense gratification. So Vedic culture kept the finer instincts, where the person felt for relationships, felt for the Supreme Lord, felt for the gifts that are coming from all living entities. In a purport, in a lecture which Srila Prabhupada gives on Devarshi Bhutapta nṛṇāṁ Pitrināṁ, Prabhupada tells that we are indebted to everyone who has done some service. And he even mentions that when you get up early in the morning, then the birds are chirping and give us a soothing feeling in the mind, and we are indebted to those birds also. So I was thinking that I should feel, when the birds are chirping, I should feel indebted. So if this is about the birds, and another time he was taking a datun, a stick for brushing, from the tree, and after some time, 2-3 they plucked, and then he told the disciple, don't disturb him more, this is enough. That means he is feeling for that tree also. So a devotee can feel for the ants also, like Mrigari felt for the ant after becoming a devotee. Versus a person who is carried by the modern ideas, where the bodily conception of life is given profuse bombardment, then the person becomes actually like he does not have any finer tissues to feel for the pains of others. When I was in my IIT Kharagpur days, so one time I was doing mess duty. So mess duty means you have to keep records of what has come into the mess and not. So when I was doing that, so chicken had come. So that time we didn't have a voice center, so we didn't have any shelter like that. So I was doing mess duty. So they were cutting the chicken, and the chicken was, both the head was cut, but still both of them were shivering. And I was crying tears. And this fellow is just laughing, He can't, he can't understand the pain of the other living entity. So people become very cruel, and they can't feel for the pains of others. But when we take to Krishna consciousness, the same people, like in Mayapur only, one devotee had come from another country, and another devotee met him, and he saw there are big, big boils over him. And he said, Prabhuji, why are you not using mosquito net? Then he said, Prabhu, see, I am a very sinful person. What is my life before coming to Krishna consciousness? I was a don, and I have killed thousands and thousands of people, and I have raped many women. So I have been a very, very sinful person. So I am coming to Mayapur Dham, and these mosquitoes are Dhamvasis. They are sucking my blood and purifying me. So I am getting purified. There, I am eating prasadam, so that is pure, and my impure blood is being sucked by the Dhamvasi Vaishnavas, these mosquitoes. So that devotee was stunned. Who is this Vaishnava? You know? So this is the sense. See, can you imagine a person who is, just those who are those people who should be protected, like women, children, and all. He is killing them, raping them, and he has become so sensitive that now he wants to be bit by the mosquitoes and become purified. This is Krishna consciousness. So the finer sentiments, Prabhupada says, finer tissues get destroyed. And Prabhupada writes in another purport that if you drink milk regularly, that milk, ghee, these are actually, this arise, they help us to develop the finer tissues to understand spiritual subject matter. So if there is no Krishi Goraksha Vanijam, if the cows are slaughtered, how will there be milk? In fact, the cow does not give milk simply as an industrial factory. She gives milk out of love. I was in Calcutta and I was talking to one devotee who was maintaining the Goshala there, and he told me very beautiful things about mother cow. Mother cow, when the Gwala becomes sick, then the cow will go and eat certain grasses, some herbs also, by which the milk will be imbued with medicinal value, which will cure the Gwala also, the cowherd boy. So she actually feels like a mother. She actually feels. In fact, she also develops a sense of fever when the Gwala is having fever. So I was stunned. We just don't say Gomata for the sake of saying Gomata. Actually, she feels like a mother. So in the Vedic culture, Gomata was not considered an animal. She was part of the family only. And they cared for her. One of my friends is in Prayagraj, and he has his home where there is Goshala also. So they understand that when cow is here, so the whole family does not go for a trip, because someone has to stay to take care of the cow. So they consider her not as a burden, but a burden of love, or rather it is a joy to serve someone there is a sense of gratitude. So there is a lot of finer sentiments which flow, which are destroyed when people take to industrial idea. So this is the first theme that Srila Prabhupada is very beautifully bringing in many purports. So we should look forward to see that in the future we can restore the Vedic culture. So Prabhupada also opened many farm communities, and he wanted that model to become manifest in a proper shape. So endeavors are being done by many devotees. So if that can happen, then one role model example will be there when all these industrial enterprises will shut down, when all the fuels like petrol and all these fuels which are being used will be finished. It is mentioned in the research by scientists only that by 2060 or so, all the fuels which we are using will be finished. Then all these cars will go into the junk only. Then what will we do? So then they will have to resort to something which is simple and Vedic. And by that time we have to create models which are functional. And by seeing the role model example of a wonderful community, happy simply based on the natural gifts of Mother Nature, then people will take to Krishna consciousness also. So Prabhupada wanted people to take to these simple models. So it is not that, actually now the next one where Prabhupada talks about the different classes, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. So all the classes respect each other. Prabhupada tells in one lecture that the Brahmanas would be called Panditji, and Kshatriyas would be called Thakur Sahib, and Vaiśyas are addressed as Sethji, and Shudras are addressed as Chaudhary. This is Indian culture. So then Prabhupada says they have got respect for everyone, not like disrespect for one class, thinking I am Panditji, you are all lower class. So Vedic culture was very profoundly situated in respect. So if you see in the Vedic culture, these 4 varnas were existing, and each varna did his duty to ensure that everyone is happy. So when Prabhupada is writing about different types of Vaiśyas, so I was hearing one lecture by His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Maharaj, and he was telling that Vaiśyas can do business wherever they go. It is in their blood only. Then he gave 2 examples. He told one time in Uganda, there was a very cruel person on the top as the leader. So he would eat the people. So he actually threw away all the Gujaratis from that place mercifully, he says. Why mercifully? Because he did not eat them at least, but he threw them out of the place and did not leave one single gold jewelry also on their body. So everything was stripped off, and then they had to just go with their clothes to England, where they were considered refugee. And within a few years only, all these Gujaratis had flourishing business, because they know how to do business. And he gave another example. In Calcutta, when there was a plague, and British said that if you can get a dead rat, then we'll give you some money, some paisa we'll give you. So that time, one person who had lost his business, he went to another businessman. Can you give me something as a initial asset from which I can build up my... So he said, okay, I'll give you one asset. And he went out and told, see, this is a dead rat, you take this. He gave a dead rat to him. And that fellow sold that dead rat for this scheme of British. And from that he got some money, and he expanded and eventually became a very big businessman in Calcutta. So this is vaiśyas. They can do business out of dead rat also. So vaiśyas have that inner propensity. Similarly, actually every class, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, they have their natural propensities, and whatever they see, they will see it from that angle. Like Maharaj was telling in that lecture, that imagine a Brahmana goes to a forest, so he'll say, oh, very nice place to sit and chant, very good, peaceful place. And then if a Kshatriya goes, he'll say, oh, I have to kill all the wild animals here so that the people will be protected. And if a Vaishya goes, he'll say, okay, I'll cut all the timber and do business. And if a Shudra goes, he will say, I'll get my girlfriend and enjoy here, So like that, everyone has his own propensity, and he sees the same place out of his propensities. So these are natural classifications, and they are done based on guna, karma, vibhagasha, as Krishna says. There's another beautiful verse in the Bhagavatam, in the 7th canto. Yasyayal lakshanam proktam pumso varnabhi vyanjikam yad anyatrapi drishyeta tattenaiva vinirdishyet. So he says that lakshanam proktam, based on the symptoms one has to classify according to Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, not based on birth. And guna, karma, vibhagasha, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita also. So the caste system often is criticized by the modern people, thinking that it is something that Brahmanas have tried to dominate over the Kshatriyas, Vaishya, Shudras, and everyone is actually, this caste system labels people as something. To some degree it is true when the caste system became contaminated with, when Brahmanas became contaminated with pride. So it is true, that time the caste system is not the original varnashrama which the Vedic culture talks about. But in the Vedic culture, there is a lot of respect for each other. So we see in the Vedic culture how there was interdependence, mutual respect and gratitude for all the classes. Like I mentioned, our Srila Prabhupada told about how they are addressed. Plus, it is also, see, Brahmanas are maintained. Here it is mentioned that formerly the Brahmanas were given all the necessities of life by the Kshatriyas and Vaishyas because they had no time to spend making a living. That means they are very busy doing Krishna consciousness. They have no time doing this. So they are doing spiritual duties very nicely. That is why it is the duty of the other classes to maintain them on the physical platform. And they, in turn, are actually offering them spiritual shelter. So spiritually, Brahmanas protect the other classes, and the other classes are offering service to the Brahmana by maintaining them physically. Both are interdependent, and there is respect also. Like we see when Shamik Rishi heard that his son Shringi has cursed Parikshit Maharaj. So then he said that this was very inappropriate. Because of Parikshit, we are actually protected. And now you have cursed him to death. You don't understand. Even if a fault is done by the king, we should respect him still, because he is actually a very important person who is taking care of the Brahmanical culture. And he should not be categorized as a common man. So the Brahmanas, Prabhupada writes there that as such, see, Shringi called him a watchdog. And Prabhupada says that from one point of view, because he is always seeing, he is keeping guard that no one troubles others. So he is a watchdog in one sense. But that is not something to be spoken by the Brahmana. That is uncultured behavior. So that uncultured behavior, when it comes, then every society, every person thinks that I should be respected. But so then they try to crave for getting respect from others. But when all the parts of the society, they respect each other. This can apply to varnas also, this can apply to ashramas also, this can apply to genders also. So when everyone is respected by the other party, then the whole unit becomes a very wonderful unit. So that way the Vedic culture was, when there is need of when one knows that there is, the other party is contributing so much for my existence, so there is always gratitude and reciprocation. So, if you see, Brahmanas are maintaining spiritually, Kshatriyas are protecting the society by, first of all, setting a good example as a leader. The Brahmanas are very much into transcendence. So for the common man, the Kshatriya becomes a very good leader to follow, like Lord Ram or Shivaji Maharaj, like that, leaders of the society who can be seen that they are living by a certain standard. They worship the Lord, they are not selfish, they are not going for sense gratification, although they have all the money in their hand. That means we should also do this. So they are setting a great example. And secondly, they also engage all the citizens to hear from Brahmanas and become spiritually elevated. Plus, they protect the Varnashram Dharma. They divide all the society, that this is your duty, this is your duty, so all of you should do your duties. And if someone is not doing their duty, then punishing them. Plus, punishing those who are rogues and thieves who are troubling other living entities. So these are duties of a Kshatriya. And the vaiśyas are giving all the produce which is required for the daily living on the bodily front, which is also important because we are not the body, but we are in the body. So we have to still be maintained. And Shudras are assisting. Sometimes if the Shudra, like if there is only the other three class, but the Shudra is not there, then who will assist in the land? If there is a zamindar, he will engage the Shudras in certain service under him. And that way he also gets help. So everyone has his responsibilities. So Shamik Rishi respected Parikshit. Ritu Maharaj beautifully respected the 4 Kumaras. In fact, he says that all this property is your property only, O Brahmanas. When 4 Kumaras came. In fact, we are actually your rini, Vinoda Patram, he says, we are your, we are indebted to you and we are only offering back what you have given us. So he says, my dear Brahmanas, you have carried out the order thoroughly because you are also as compassionate as the Lord. It is my duty therefore to offer you something. But all I possess are but remnants of food taken by great saintly persons. Sadhu uchishtam, he says. So what shall I give? So he's thinking that I want to repay you for the debt that you have given me divine knowledge, but then all I have is what you have given me only. So he does not consider that I am the owner of the kingdom, so I am maintaining the Brahmanas. He is feeling gratitude in doing this service to the Brahmanas. And he says, the king continued, therefore, my dear Brahmanas, my life, wife, children, home, furniture, household paraphernalia, my kingdom, strength, land, especially my treasury are all offered unto you. So, and the Brahmanas are also they are like fakirs, they don't have any desire to accumulate a lot. So they will take whatever is required for their needs, use everything for Krishna's service, and also engage all the living entities in, they will give charity to the other people. So, Dan Parigraha. So Vedic culture was filled with this. It was founded on the fiber of respect, where all the different parties had deep respect for each other, and most importantly, they all lived to satisfy the Supreme Lord. Sam Siddhir Haritoshanam. Unless the society is keeping Krishna in the center, simply it's not like, I pat your back and you pat my, I scratch your back and you scratch my back. All the varnas are part of the Lord's body. So Lord is to be satisfied. Just like in this body, we have all these limbs, but the soul, whatever it wants to do, whatever the soul wants to do, the body's part should act for. So the Lord's desire to fulfill to make the dharmic principles go ahead is the goal of all the varnas and ashramas. And if that goes on, then the society will be very peaceful and blissful, and they can all together go back to Godhead. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. I request if there are any comments of any Vaishnavas. And any comments, Prabhus, Matajis?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Prabhu, nowadays, actually, as per the Vedic scriptures, everything is very clear. But compared, the situation is entirely different nowadays. Now, everywhere, wherever you see the struggle for existence.
Correct.
In that case, how the things will be followed in the, even Prabhupada said in his quotation, simple living and high thinking.
Correct.
So, there is a possibility to maintain such against the scriptures.
Yes, Prabhu, thank you for your question. I would invite other senior Vaishnavas to speak. I'll speak my humble understanding. See, Srila Prabhupada told this very vital instruction because that is what will help to sustain the society in the future. And many wonderful attempts are being done by many parts of our ISKCON movement. Like if you see His Holiness Shivram Swami Maharaj is having a farm community in Hungary. Then GEV, Govardhan Eco Village, has won a lot of sustainability prizes by the UN. And His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Maharaj is having another in Nandigram. His Holiness Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj is doing something wonderful in Gokul Dham. So different types of attempts are being made, because when we talk about changing culture, it is not easy. It is not something like overnight it will happen. It takes sometimes generations. But if we very sincerely work towards the effort in the mode of goodness, then gradually but surely, because it is the instruction of the Acharya, then it will come to pass. So we have to do our part in the journey. If that is the order of the Guru Parampara, we should take it on our head and try to work on it. And there will be 100 problems, 1,000 problems. But it should be our conviction. Just like Prabhupada was, it is an impossible instruction that go to the West and preach in the Western language, apparently, for an old man of 70. But he could make it happen. If now also, if some young man is told that you go to the West and 40 rupees is there in your hand, he may also feel, I think, at least give me some residential place there, how can I go in cargo ship? Still, after hearing Prabhupada past time also, there may be hesitation, Then that is the way the orders sometimes are inconceivable to the human mind. But they are coming from the Acharya, that is the will of the Lord. And anyone who perseveres in that direction, then the Lord empowers him to get more wisdom, dadami buddhi yogantam. And gradually, it will unfold. I don't have any details of varnashram, making of the varnashram, because I am not into that field directly. But this is my humble take on it. If Vaishnavas order me to get into that role, then I may think in that direction. Any other Vaishnavas want to tell something on this question? Vijay, you want to say something? Yes.
Hare Krishna. Actually, the life becomes a greater and greater struggle to the degree we cultivate material desires. Sadhana malay bayata labhe te santosh eta acharya kare bhakti dharma posh. He says that always chant the holy name and hear the holy fame of Srimad Bhagavatam, of Supreme Lord. And whatever comes of its own accord, sent by Krishna, accept it and be satisfied with it. Don't hanker for anything more. Then he says, you will be maintained by Bhakti Devi. Bhakti Devi will take responsibility to see that you are peacefully situated. Otherwise, manashashtani indriyani prakritistani karshati. So here in Mayapur Dham, for example, many young couples have come here with the great hope that the temple is in a growing mode. Eventually TOVP is going to open and thousands of people are they're migrating towards Mayapur. And some of them are IT engineers also, husbands, but they're doing work from Mayapur, like work from home. And their wife and children are happy. They have a school and they have everything. But their goal is to stay in the Dham and serve the Dham. They have taken some services here. So if they are in a saving mode, whatever money you have, don't waste it, save it, keep your life simple. Basically food, clothing, shelter you need. Balance money, you save it, and be focused on these two principles. Chanting the holy name always and hearing the holy fame. If that is our goal of life, then it's where life is not at all going to be strugglesome. Life is struggle for one who wants sense gratification.
Thank you. Mataji wants to ask.
I just want to thank you very much for your wonderful class. Just remembering one of Srila Prabhupada's instruction that the whole society has to have overhaul. You know, overhaul means turned over.
Yeah, overhauling has to be done.
Yeah, means to revamp or shake all this nonsense that may have been going on. So personally, I think we should, as devotees, we should have faith in the words of the acharyas because Krishna somehow or other will fulfill his desire. Can you imagine the whole society to be overhauled, going back, living harmoniously with Mother Nature and going back to the Vedic system? Like every time there was some problem in the past, as we see in the Bhagavatam, like in the time of King Vena and Hiranyakashipu, then the whole society becomes overhauled in a good time. So similarly, we should have faith that Krishna has something in his pocket and may bring it out soon, because for your information right now, the new system will be governance of the kings. So we should be ready with our Kshatriyas. There are going to be 7 kings ruling the 7 continents. So I'm just keeping up with the news that are happening. And we just have to have faith, that's all I'm saying. And Krishna has some miracles waiting for the Vedic culture, because Lord Chaitanya predicted it. So how long? It's supposed to come. This is the golden age. So having full faith and watch Krishna's miracle unfold right in front of our eyes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Any other comment or question? Okay. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank the entire the Mayapur temple community. Every year we do come with a very big number of youths, and we are very blessed that with gracious heart, with full heart, all the devotees give us facilities to conduct the programs. Many senior Vaishnavas address our youths, and it's a very great joy that actually we cannot create this ambience elsewhere. But devotees here have been very kind upon us to facilitate. Sometimes we may be causing inconvenience also to others. So we seek forgiveness for that, and also feel gratitude that all of the devotees are very, very cooperative. All the leaders in Mayapur temple are very kind upon our team to see that we get all the requirements to ensure the youth get the best experience of Krishna consciousness in this holy abode of Lord Chaitanya. So we are just very indebted to all of you. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna.